Carved into the side of part of the Sonoma Mountains, Sonoma Raceway features 160 feet in elevation changes, most with blind corner turn-ins and a crest right at the apex, or a blind full commitment plunge downhill. In 1998, to help the lumbering stock cars of NASCAR get around the track, the chute was born, eliminating the undulating run through the iconic Turn 6 carousel, but creating its own challenges. Whatever the layout, it is one of the most serpentine technical tracks in North America, and having been fully repaved in 2024 for the first time in 23 years, it now has a whole new level of grip. And its esteem is, of course, enhanced by the fact it lies in the very heart of California's legendary wine country. Well, tonight, it welcomes the pilots of the Full-Sin Sims Esports iRacing Spec MX5 Series for Round 5 of 2025's second season. Hi, folks, I'm Greg Creamer, and welcome to the track historically known as Sears Point. Joining me, as always, is Kyle Heyer. And Kyle, while the NASCAR layout skips that infamous plunge through the carousel, we will get to see these wonderful pilots in these SMX machines fly through now one of the most sorely missed and most exciting turns in all of North American motorsports, Turn 10.
Oh, Turn 10. It's just one of those high-speed kinked corners that you just really have to balance the car on the limit through there, and it takes you right out to the edge. There's no paved runoff over there. It's dirt, it's grass, and then there's a tire and concrete wall over there. It's no fun if you get it wrong, but if you get it just right, it is incredibly satisfying. It sets you up for perhaps your best passing opportunity here at Sonoma. And this is one of my favorite race tracks, Greg. Certainly my favorite track on the West Coast, though. I was just at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. I love that place. Sonoma just holds a special place in my heart, and a lot of the drivers in the SRO world will tell you that this is one of their favorite racetracks, maybe not necessarily to race, but to drive. There's so much undulation. It's like a roller coaster in every spec of the word. 2 miles is this configuration, Greg, and all that elevation happens in a hurry over here. Over crests, down into valleys, into big compressions. This is a fun racetrack.
It's an absolute blast. And, you know, many years ago when the old track was without the chute, and that's the one you were going to run, and IMSA was running here with the Audi prototypes and the Riley and Scotts from Dyson Racing, I asked Hans Stuck once, who is no doubt one of the bravest drivers in the world, I said, what's your favorite track in North America? Fully expecting him to say Road America or the Glen or something. He said, oh, Greg, it's not even close. It is Sears Point. And he said the S's are absolute magic. And remember, he was driving fire-breathing Porsche in 962. So this is a very special place. I'm with you. It's always been one of my favorites. And it's such a technical place that a driver that really has a technical handle on how to get through the slower corners to get set up for the fast stuff can really shine here.
Yeah, maybe not fire-breathing these cars tonight. Maybe they're breathing candles, but the MX-5 is a great car for this racetrack because there's so many direction changes. It really lends itself to this kind of thing. And qualifying is underway already. Pretty sizable field here, just under 25 here tonight, which is enough for a racetrack that can be tight at times in the confines here. You mentioned those S's on board with Thomas Bellman, provisional pole sitter. And here's that turn 10 you talked about here, Greg. It's a fast corner off the gas. Just tuck it in, tuck the curb on the inside, and there's a little push there right on the exit.
You've got to get your turn in right. As you said, if you turn in a little bit early, you're going to push wide. If you turn in too late, you miss the apex and you might just go flying off the outside. And the really good drivers, they'll just carry a beautiful drift through there. And it is truly glorious to watch. Here we go onto the front straight. And then this run up the hill through turn 1 up to the top at turn 2. Big compression right there as they make that turn. You see that rear end load, and then you get set up. Here you go up into turn 2, and you're not done climbing. You've got another huge climb here after you drop into turn 3. The exit of 3A, I always call one of my commitment meters right here, because if you're not up and on that curbing right there, you're not going to be fast. But if you overshoot that wall's really close.
And then right here, turn 4. I like this corner a lot. Just bounce over that curb on the inside. They removed the height from that berm on corner exit, so you're not necessarily going to clamber over the top of it. It just lends you through that short chute added in the early 2000s, and then to turn 7 like you typically would, and then down and around into the S's again. It's a fun racetrack, and actually it's pretty short in an MX-5. About 1:25 is what most of our competitors are running, save for Thomas Bellman, your provisional pole sitter. We're missing Morgan Burkhardt tonight. There's a lot going on in the SCCA racing world right now, and that's probably impacted us a little bit as far as entries are concerned, but still a nice field.
Yeah, and what's going on, of course, is the runoffs, right? And a number of drivers that run with us are also there. Some of them are going to try and do double duty. Some just aren't going to be able to do it logistically. But it's great to have our representation there, and to know that the drivers that compete at the front in this series run at the front of something as extraordinary as the runoffs. You know, that's one of my favorite events ever, and it's just great to see that we've got so many drivers doing both and doing them well.
So just under 5 minutes left here in qualifying. We took a glance at the weather a little earlier, and it's pretty cool for a Sonoma day. 73, track temp's only about 90, a little bit of a breeze out of the southeast, but it certainly can get scorching hot here. And let's also remember that we're on the rescan. This is new pavement, again, for the longest time here at iRacing. This is one of the oldest North American tracks, scanned in about 2007, and that's what we were racing on as recently as last season. But now this has new pavement that adds a lot of grip. Although this track, again, was paved with a compound that Speedway Motorsports had also used on Atlanta Motor Speedway in order to make it not incredibly grippy on purpose. It was sort of designed to wear out, and it actually did that a little too well on debut, and they had to repave some sections before SRO was there last year.
It certainly made, prior to that repaving, what another element that I loved about it was it was a tire reader. And if you were really good at being able to, really control and save your tires, you could be running 4th or 5th when you'd hit that final third of the race, and you could win the thing, whether it was real world or even in the sim. If you could really baby your tires early, you could be a rocket ship late. That's been mitigated a little bit, which of course will make the racing a little bit more exciting just right from the off. But this place is still one that you've got to take care of the tires. You're loaded so often around here.
There's a driver that I think the name is new to us here, William Vanselkema.
Yeah.
Number 603, nice looking green and white car, currently up inside the top 10. So already my eyes shot to this car as a potential upset here inside the top 10. Kind of right up with everybody else that we're familiar with. This is a strong debut here in the first laps of qualifying.
Yeah, it is. He actually ran with us last Tuesday.
Okay.
That was his absolute debut, and did a nice job. Obviously, we saw things kind of turned upside down a little bit at the previous race compared to what we've seen with some of the competitors. But he did put in a solid run, and but to see him now up into top 10, impressive. There's no question about it, and doing a really, really stellar job.
Well, we got a couple onboards tonight, again, from some of the drivers that we are familiar with, and one of them is our third place runner on the racetrack right now, and that is Camden Hibbett. See him here up in P3 at the moment, and his heart rate's pretty high, I have to say, for not being in the middle of racing, and, well,
yeah,
we'll finish off the car there at the tail end of qualifying. I think he's satisfied with where he is.
And a nice lap just a couple of laps ago by Nicholas Rice-Puto, who'd been down a little bit. Now we've got 3 drivers in the 124s, and not separated by much. 3/10 from Bellman to Hibbett. Then Wan Chi Lin, nice to see him just outside of that 24 range by 3/1000ths of a second. Carson Neal, Jake Snedden right up in it again. And then, as you pointed out, Vanselkema doing a really, really solid job.
Yeah, the field, the top 11 are under 1 second apart, and you have to go back to 15th to really get more than a second and a tenth apart. So Trace Hance is 15th place, only 1.05 off of provisional pole sitter Thomas Belleman. That's really tight, and tighter than I thought we would see on this rescan layout. Again, I'm always unsure. Sonoma's not a very popular racetrack in iRacing for whatever reason. It's not, doesn't show up on a lot of schedules. So this is one of those places that tends to be one that's less practiced. And by the looks of qualifying, I think that doesn't seem to be the case anymore, at least.
Yeah. It's shorter than the original layout by a bit. I think it comes in at just under 2 miles, so that tends to compress things a little bit. We take a look there at Trace Hansen, is very familiar to us now, that blue and orange machine. And one thing I have been noticing is once they come through 4 and 4A, that as they're setting up for turn 7, which would normally be the hairpin, look how close they swing out here. Now then they cut back and get incredibly close. That was a lot of room compared to what I've seen from some of the cars. You get 2 or 3 guys dicing in anger and racing here, trying to set up for that turn. One could easily get clipped right into that concrete wall that's sitting in front of those 2 safety vehicles.
Yep, and again, this is one of those weird racetracks that, because this is a configuration only run by NASCAR typically, this is a configuration that does not have any track limits, at least as far as offs are concerned on pavement. So all that's fair play, although it's paint over there at the exit of turn 4, so it's not very grippy once you get out beyond that. As we check back in with Trace Hanstow slicing through the S's. Only 35 seconds left in qualifying. That'll put Belleman and Rice Budo on pole if no one else can get up in there. But 2 20-minute races, and we're missing our championship leader. Rice Budo is the only driver in the top 3 that's here because Olivier Piatek is also missing.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, he's been off to a great start this season, so that's a little bit of a hit for Sim, but nonetheless, he's going to come back. Trace, I don't think he got outside of that top 15 or moved up much into that top 15, even with that last lap. So a couple of guys, Trace, Elliott Burton, Dylan Lee, Ian Anderson, all drivers that we normally see, right up in that top 10. They've got work to do here.
They certainly do, and qualifying is complete. As we said, 2 20-minute races, the first of which we're going to start in just a moment's time. It's going to be about 15 laps worth of racing. What's the key to starting here, Greg? We've got a couple kinks on this front straightaway. It's not very straight at all, in fact. What's the key to getting through the first lap here at Sonoma?
Big bravery. One of the things is you can make an outside run through turn 1 because you do get that compression. And, prior to the repaving, there was a pretty nasty bump there that they've managed to eliminate some of. So you've just got to be kind of on your guard for that. But you can make a nice move from that outside starting position. If you can stay there, that gives you the inside into turn 2. Of course, it'll compromise your turn in there. And I've also seen guys that it looked like, okay, they lost that pole run up the hill and they come out of turn 2 right back in the lead because they've really compromised the outside front row starter's position entering turn 2. So it's really big commitment through turn 1, climbing that hill, trusting that it's sort of like turn 1 at Road Atlanta. As you turn in, the car's going to start to push and slide. You've got to just believe you're going to get that uphill run, you're going to get that compression, but then it's so easy to overshoot the exit of 2 here because you're forced into an early turn in. So it's pretty tricky, and oftentimes turn 2 we'll see lots of big incidents right at the start. Let's hope we don't see that today.
All right, well, before we get things rolling here, we should probably talk about some of the partners and people that make this all happen. We'll start with Full Send Sims, custom turnkey simulators from Court Schmidt. And Court, again, has experience building simulators for the military where the precision and accuracy of the simulator that you're training in is a matter of life and death. But here in the sim racing world, he'll just get you tuned up to the car that you're gearing up for, Greg, and the detail is just unparalleled.
Oh, it is. I mean, he brings the military precision of a sim build to the racing sim, and that's because, like a military sim, Court firmly believes it's a tool to make you a better real-world driver. Now, yes, it can be fun. You can go out and have just some fun with some friends, but it is a tremendous training opportunity used correctly. And, of course, once you get into the real world of racing, one of the biggest things you need is really good safety equipment. And Sabelt, who has come on board as one of the big supporters here for over 5 decades now, they've been known for quality and innovation through amazing levels of research and development, to the point that they are now the only company in the sector with an internal test lab to perform FIA level tests on its product. I think that speaks volumes.
I certainly agree with you here, Greg. And of course, Farah has joined us recently as well. And you've been to a handful of those events, Greg, although they've been sort of pushing out of their southeast roots.
They have been. They've been a Florida-based series for years. This year they just got back from NOLA and in New Orleans, and they've also up in Audubon. And even so, they still really are the most accessible road racing series for spectators with almost no ticket costs, a minor parking fee. You could take a family of 4 for an entire weekend, see a lot of different types of cars, great diversity in terms of the machinery, and not break the bank. And that's, pretty critical, obviously, especially if you're trying to have some fun with the family. Then, of course, 3P Logistics. Frank Rodriguez said, I want to be a part of this from day one with his amazing tailored trackside support and logistical program. with 3P. And Final Turn Motorsports, Rob Greenwood, same thing. They said, look, we want to be part of this. They're a Miata transmission builder. The connection, the synergy there was just perfect for them. And then, of course, Wine Country Motorsports joined us early on in the going too. And they're the racer's resource for helmets, gloves, shoes, seats, whatever you need. And they also are full sim turnkey. You could buy sims through them. And of course, you can get lots of great Sawbelt stuff through them. So it's all part of a wonderful family.
Thomas Belleman and Nicholas Rice-Budo start on the front row. Behind them, it'll be Camden Hibbett and Wan-Chi Lin in the number 68. Carson Neal, Jake Snedden share row number 3. Then Beans Forster and Michael Brock start 7th and 8th. William Wenzel Kemma and James Newell share the 5th row. Then Hayden Manis, Nate Himmelsbach, Ian Anderson, and Dylan Lee, followed by Trace Hance, Elliot Burton 15th and 16th. Seth Spolman, Jim Friedhofer, and then Sawyer Richards and Kerry Anderson wrapping up the top 20. 2 more rows, Todd Burris, Michael Fuller, followed by Wayne Buttermore and Arif Aziz. That is your 24-car starting grid, Greg. A little bit of a wait to get to the green flag here on the front straight, but once they go racing, 20 minutes, about 15 laps.
Once that pace car pulls off, it's up to the pole sitter. You've got to be running at 40 miles an hour, and the pole sitter position determines the green, not the actual game. And there we go. We are racing. And big look to the inside. Hayden Manis always like try and make something happen at the start. Here we go. That side-by-side run I was talking about. Rice-Budo parked on the outside as Belleman tries to lead them up and in. Rice-Budo forces the issue, but there's Belleman, able, as I said, to pin Rice-Budo to the inside. Camden opting to go with him, and I think Camden's got the nose ahead as they turn into 3A here. Great start by Camden, coming from third up into second, and whoa, some serious curb hopping, and Michael Brock really kind of got freight trained there, didn't he?
Yeah, great clean start here as the field makes their way into turn 4. Now jumping that curb for the first time and streaming down to turn 7. This is where you can get yourself into trouble. Big wide arc on entry. So far, so good. Snedden past Manis, but nice and tidy, orderly grouping here. This is a strong beginning.
Really impressive here. Wan-Chi Lin got up and stole that 4th spot away, but Karsten Neal right completed the pass to be able to take it back. And here we go as we take a look here at this Beans off to the side through these S's, and they get tighter and tighter. And then here we go. Turn 10, it's side by side for these two guys. And there it is. Very difficult to make that work. Wan-Chi Lin risked it all on the outside, Kyle, and found the wall.
Yeah, and that'll be day over for Wan-Chi Lin before it even starts, or at least race 1 will be over before it even starts. We'll go back and look at that in a moment once we sort things out here as Forster now is under fire from Hayden Manis. Here's Jake Snedden in behind, and then James Newell in a green and silver livery now. That's a new color scheme for him, I believe.
Yes, it is.
Chasing this group up the hill.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether Bean suffered any kind of damage from that. That was a pretty good clout. He could have, knocked a toe out on that left front corner, and we'll see if he's able to find a drive around and being able to get going again. But James Newell looking for any opening here, and this is what we're talking about, Kyle. This track's so tight, constantly changing direction, and then you come up and over that rise here, and now turn 7. If you get this run down the hill right, could become a pretty good overtaking here. But this is what I'm talking about, 3-4 wide, and then they're trying to bend back toward that concrete wall. Everybody skates through that time, but boy, is that just gets the heart pumping every time.
And then everything kind of condenses now. Look how much the road narrows leaving turn 7 and into these S's.
Yes.
And Newell tucks in behind Manis now. You got to get single file to carry much speed through here. All the while up at the front of the field, Camden Hibbett's closing in on Belleman for the race lead. He does not want to let him get away. Battles on up at the front here.
And right now, he's just glued now. I was just going to say, I think he's going to follow him for a little bit. Shows the nose, maybe trying just to, let Belleman know, hey, I'm right here. I'm not going to let you just scoot away. Rice-Budo slots into third. And that, with that problem, of course, for Beans and Wan-Chi, that is allowed. And right here, you can see, well, I don't see that Beans, there was any place Beans could really go. Did you?
It looks like he might have drifted from the apex just a little bit for me, but side by side through there is pretty tough, regardless.
It really is.
And on the
outside, what a shame.
Yeah.
Wan-Chi had such a great start, Kyle. I hate to see that happen early.
Yeah, it looks like Elliot Burton is off track, and Sawyer Richards is down a little ways. I don't see that he's been in the wall anywhere, but is down about 8 seconds from Seth Spolman, and Spolman's also back a little ways from the field, so I'm not sure if they had a coming together or what. They've actually both been down pit lane, and for the lead, here comes Hibbett.
Hibbett just squares up early and lets Belleman Boy, look at the amount of ground that Hibbett gained there by using that much tighter line, and that was simply a function of less distance. That time paid off versus maybe the little bit slower speed that he ran, and he was able to gap it. But look how quick Belleman's been able to close in. And again, Rice Puto staying right there, and it was really because of that incident between Beans and Wan Chi Lin that there's this little bit of a gap now between Rice Puto and third, back to Neal. But look at this now, Belleman trying to figure out what he's going to do. Going to try and square up, come down, and get a run. It's going to put him on the outside if he's able to do it, and he decides to tuck right back in.
And one of the things we didn't mention that is another configuration difference from the Cup course versus the sports car course is that NASCAR elected to put a barrier on the inside of turn 11, and that sort of cuts down on the funky business that people were trying to get overlap there. But here comes Belleman up the inside there looking at turn 2, and there's some lap traffic ahead. That's Sawyer Richards.
Yeah, it is, and I'll tell you, Carson Neal has taken a big chunk out of them on this lap. He has taken almost 0.4 of a second out of the lead of Hibbett, Bellman, and Rice Puto back just a little bit. So Carson finding some speed again, and Forster, Beans just fought his way back into 5th with Jake Snedden in 6th. There they come, but you can see they're ways back as they come through, and then this nasty little scrum.
Just watch a moment ago. Let's right on board with Trace Hance as he comes through turn 4. You were talking about that runoff area and that concrete wall. Have a look at this.
That is just, I mean, it's exciting, but it's just heart in the throat kind of stuff here. As is this, and as you pointed out, the traffic up front and this great battle. Belleman showing the nose, looking to go to the inside. He's going to straight line to the apex. Oh, they touch, and that's going to force Camden out wide. Rice Puto pounces Kyle. That's going to let Carson come right back into this. And now you have to wonder, was there any kind of damage to Hibbett's car? As Rice Puto's going to go for the lead now.
Yeah, a little clunk wheel to wheel there. I don't think that there will be any damage from that, but certainly that was enough to put the 132 airborne for a moment. And he's kind of still smiling. He's getting right back into it there. No harm, no foul from these three. But this is going to be a fun little scrap. And as you mentioned, Carson Neal's not too far back.
No, he's doing a really nice job here. He's now taking another chunk out as we hop on board with him. And is it too early to mention potential cut tires from the Chariot wheel? Nice.
Yeah.
I love that they just haven't worried about that. I think it's really funny.
I downloaded 300 megabytes of updates before this broadcast, and not one of them dealt with that. So that's classic.
You're not too worried about it, I guess.
It doesn't seem like it. I mean, honestly, you'd probably see a lot less incidents in Spec Miata in the real world if they started putting spikes on the wheels.
Boy, isn't that for sure? I'll tell you what, Carson's doing a beautiful job. And I mean, obviously Bean's trying to fight back from that moment, but there's a sizable gap between Neal sitting in 4th. It's about 2.2 seconds back to Beans and Snedden. So Carson is doing a really stellar job here. And Belleman down to the inside of Rice Puto. Nicholas, again, Belleman very respectful there, I thought, Kyle. Gave him plenty of room just to be safe.
Yeah, looking good between these two. Now holds him in a little tight. Belleman does on the front stretch, and that will allow Hibbett to sort of take the shorter distance here as these two are side by side. Closing in the halfway point. Watch the overlap there for Belleman, and tucks in behind him right before they go to the brakes. And the uphill braking zone for turn 2 is very short because you're using that gravity assist, so it's very easy to miss your braking point by even a couple inches. It can mean a few feet.
Well, either way, and that's exciting. If you brake just that smidge too early, suddenly you're just crawling at the exit. And if you brake just that little bit too late, you just scoot wide, just straight off. And I've seen some pretty big incidents with cars that have missed that braking point and ended up going inverted up there as Belleman makes that nice move and locks back in here. But we've got a top 4 battle that's pretty good here as we're coming to the halfway point of toward this first of 2 here.
Hayden Madison, James Newell, a little bit of a scrap. A bit further back here for 7th, and the same is true even deeper in the field. How about Wayne Buttermore and Dylan Lee, 17th and 18th place? Fights.
Really having a good one.
Yeah,
and is that Michael? Yeah. And Vancil Kama right there as well. And there's Michael Fuller. Nice to have him running with us. Haven't seen him for a little bit here. And again, Trace Hance, I talked about he had work to do, having qualified in 15th. Well, he's done it. I mean, he's up into the top 10. and that's Vanselkama right in front of him. So we'll see what he's going to be able to do from there. But nice to see Jake Snedden right up at the sharp end. And Hayden Manis has already moved up a fair number of spots from the field here as he has worked his way up into 7th.
Yeah, nice start for Manis.
Yeah,
battles have begun to fizzle back here for the time being. The one up front, though, still just as fierce. Climbing up over the crest. Love that you can get airborne over that curb there as well. That's always a fun one.
And there's and then you get airborne over that curb, and then you've got that exit curb that comes at you in a big hurry as they make that bob and weave down through here. Forster has they've actually taken a little bit back as him at another. He used that before to great effect and said, I'm going to go for it here, and was able to surprise Nicholas and slot into that 2nd spot and didn't lose much to Bellman in the process. So that's pretty impressive.
Well, see, now Rice Puto on the back foot, and he's off course.
Way off course.
And he'll get back on. He'll likely have a slowdown to serve here. I think he just got, he's still got dirt on the tires. That's gonna, gosh, he's fighting that thing.
Man, he is, now he's well out of the way. Did he break something?
I'm not sure.
He did, look at the back of that.
Oh, wow.
Something broke. Trying to figure out where, yeah, that was just bizarre.
Yeah, something wasn't right.
No.
Driving pretty straight here.
Maybe, yeah. Oh, you see it lay down there.
Yeah, very odd.
Yep. Yeah.
And he is back moving now.
Broke.
So I thought he was just bailing out to exit the racetrack, but he's back on course P13.
I did too, yeah. Oh boy, that's costly. Yeah. Considering he came in, looking pretty solid in the points. Yes, we're still pretty early in the season, but nonetheless, you still don't, when you're running top 3, you hate to throw it away like that. And now that promotes Carson to the top 3. And that gap back to Beans is about, a little over 2 seconds with Snedden right there. And I'm keeping an eye on the gap back to Manis, but Hayden hasn't been able to close much on that top 5 of Snedden right now, at this stage anyway.
Clouds have come over the racetrack, and it's dark out again. You don't typically see a lot of clouds in Sonoma, do you? Usually pretty blue sky days.
Yep, that or just rain. But Bellman looking sharp. And we know, this guy is new to the Full Send Sim Series this season, but you know him well. He's certainly no stranger to top tier racing.
No, yeah, certainly not. I mean, he was a front-running competitor in the Toyota GR Cup North America Esports Championship, which will actually come to a close this Saturday at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So was running top 5 in that. Actually swept this round in this season this year. So was a double winner at Sonoma and one of the most competitive road racing esports championships in the country. So he's really in tune. That was on the alternate configuration, the long course, and it was the older laser scan, obviously. But again, he knows this place well.
He's putting it to great use, and just every time they do that. And of course, the argument there is you can see how close they shave the other end of that barrier when they come out here. They get so close to that. The argument against what they're doing there and the lack of track limits down at what would be 4A, I guess, that NASCAR turn is just the simple fact that wall then comes at you so quickly and so close. But they all know, that's the rules, and they're going to exploit them, certainly it sounds like the rules here in terms of iRacing for Sonoma, based on what you said at the top of the show, Kyle, is they believe in the Mario Andretti approach, which is you don't want to meet a race on it, don't pave it. Pretty simple.
It seems like with all these new laser scans, iRacing has sort of taken on the approach of matching the rules to the organization that uses that track layout the most, so that you end up with a sort of realistic representation of what you would be racing, because if you had track limits there and then you're racing stock cars here, it would seem out of place. So that's what they've adopted, it seems like, at places like Watkins Glen, even as recently as just this build. So it gives you a little extra racing room, and honestly, a lot of times you'll watch Spec Miata or even SMX at Watkins Glen, to name that racetrack again. They don't enforce the limits at turn 1 either. So there's a little bit of exceptions in places with racing like this, and it just allows you to use a little bit more racetrack, but that's at your own risk. And you'll see like this when you're unsighted behind a car ahead. You need to have a good feeling of when you need to turn. And look at this look up the inside.
And that's exactly what we've been talking about a little bit here. And we've seen Hibbett exploit that a couple of times, is that wider run gives you a little bit better entry speed and exit speed maybe, but you run a lot more racetrack, a lot more distance. Ooh, speaking of distance there, just a moment for Newell. But if you drive it well and you sort of shortcut it a little bit, you make up for what you might lose in terms of entry speed by just having that shorter run to the apex. But eventually people are going to figure that out too, right?
Yeah, you can't unlearn knowledge. That's one thing I've learned from watching racing in general, is that once you figure something out, you never unlearn it. And that's why you see rule books get so much longer as time goes on and so much more specific, especially with things like aerodynamics. Once you learn something, there's no going back.
Well, that's true.
Hibbett and Bellman have dispatched Carson Neal, so it's really just these two now.
Yeah, speaking of going back, I don't know whether it's he's dropped off the pace or whether they've just accelerated out. I wonder if he had a little moment somewhere. Easy enough to do. And he's driven a great race, to be sure.
Yeah, 1 second off of the leaders last time around.
And here is Beans now, 4th spot, with Snedden right on his 6th, sitting in the 5th spot. And Manis has clawed his way. He's clawed his way up to these two a little bit. He's bringing Newell and Vesselkamma, really doing a nice job as we get the great onboard look with Beans and the foot box. Love to watch how he works through the gears here.
I love just every time that green line's at the top, that is full throttle application, and you see the braking here. It goes up to peak and slowly trails off, and then right back to full throttle. The only time it's coming off is to shift. Well,
we're talking to a couple of the real guns in the Spec Miata Championship in SCCA, and they said that's one of the joys of driving these cars is there's really no other car in the world where you should be full throttle way before the apex. They said that's what makes it really fun. Oh, that was a great example of two different lines there, wasn't it?
It was, and Hibbett and Bellman, they are now 2 seconds clear of Carson Neal and quickly making this a 2-horse race, and that's critical because next time by I'm expecting about 2 laps to go. So start moving your chess pieces on the board here, Greg, because I don't think you're going to wait to the last lap like you did at Daytona or at Road America. I think you got to make your move ahead of time and just defend into 11.
I think you're right. I mean, this is, unlike a drafting track here. I think you want to lead and control from the front, assuming you feel you've got that kind of pace. And problem here for Hibbett. This is turn 10, and I love the vantage point from here. These guys, just that little bit of a breathe, use up all the road. And then if you're leading as you come in here to 11, you're going to be doing what Hibbett did. If you've got somebody right there, is just protect to the inside a bit, but you don't want to overdo it and let them just kind of ramp around the outside. Because once again, if I can get up alongside you at the exit of 11, and they can then pin you and slow your exit speed and be able to draft right by you and grab that win. So up the hill we go. And what is this going to be? 2 to go, 3 to go at this stage.
Down into turn 3. I like this corner the most. Big compression. Hit the curb on the left, set yourself up, and fly over the crest of this. And the car gets really light. You see Hibbett's off course.
Way off, yep. That's that commitment point I was talking about, and he exceeded it. Now, down through this, down into the chute here, Bellman. Look at Hibbett. Hibbett threw him a little bit of a dummy there, I think. I think he swung out like he was going to go wide, then protected to the inside. So these guys, right now, these guys are going to absolute school on each other. Where can I get through?
Big curb jump for Hibbett at 100 miles an hour. And now Bellman's poking his nose, but nowhere to go with it right now. He's going to look for turn 11. You see I had to jump on the brakes there, chasing Hibbett right through turn 10, and he'll have a look. Hibbett's going to defend. Swings to the left.
That's what we were talking about now. How does he do? Now, he's out there a little too wide, maybe. Got those marbles, and that's a long, long way to go around. And you can see he lost 3-4 car lengths with that attempt. So he just doesn't want to get in quite that hot. If he'd been able, to keep that mid-track or less, he may have been able to do something with that. And like you said, he's learned that now, and he'll have his plans. Look at the speed he made up coming in there, but then he overshot just a bit, had to grab a bit more brake, and it gives Hibbett just another car length or two of breathing room.
Well, they're going to have to get it done by the time they get to 11 because it is the last lap, 55 seconds on the board. And so Belleman's going to have to get creative here and reel Camden in a big way.
Let's see what he can do. Anything down here, and this is, do you do the short run? And this time Hibbett says, nope, he's not close enough. I'm going to do the big wide arc, roll as much speed as I can. And that's about as high a heartbeat as we've seen from Camden Hibbett, even mid-race. So he knows he's in a battle with a good one here in terms of Belleman. And they have just upped the ante. They've opened up another 2 seconds on Carson Neal. This has become mano-a-mano, and Belleman almost ran too wide there, was able to hang on to it, Kyle.
Yeah, I think 3/10 back is maybe a little too far unless you have a huge send into 11. And Hibbett's going to go defensive regardless. Belleman's got a better run. Last corner, last chance. Up the outside, it'll be an over-under if it's anything.
Yeah, Belleman carried a bit more speed. You can see Hibbett staying off of that exit curve at 10, but it wasn't enough. And here we go, Hibbett coming to the line. That last little bend is turn 12. Now, there is the flag. Hibbett wins the first of the doubleheaders here at Sonoma Raceway with Thomas Belleman second. Carson Neal, solid run up into the podium, beats Forster after that contact, ends up in the fourth spot. Jake Snedden in fifth. But Carson Neal, after having a little bit of a rough go at the previous round, after starting really well, really did a nice job in this one to get back up and crack that top 5 with Manis, Newell, Vanselkama. I'm impressed. Trace Hance from 15th to 9th, and Ian Anderson up in a 10th.
Yeah, Ian Anderson had a nice race there, P10, moving his way forward. Michael Brock didn't have the race he was hoping for. Nicholas Rice-Budo, man, that little slip-up he had, that was a weird one, but he ends up 12th. It was. And he'll have some work to do in the second race of the night. Nate Himmelsbach, Jim Friedhofer, Kerry Anderson, your top 15, Greg.
Yep, Dylan Lee ending up in the 16th spot. Todd Burris, 17th, Michael Fuller, and 18th, 19th, Wayne Buttermore, and Arif Aziz completes your top 20.
Last couple of drivers there: Seth Spolman, Sawyer Richard, Wan Shi Lin, and Elliot Burton. Burton, he just started the race and went straight to pit lane, so I'm not exactly sure if we'll see him for round 2, or race 2, I should say. But as far as the battles up front, Hibbett, Belleman, they left everybody else behind. But Beans Forster, without that incident with Wan Shi Lin, maybe that race looks a little different. Once they lost touch, it was game over. And I think the drivers that are up at the very pointy end that qualify really well, they like this place, Greg, because you're definitely you're able to drive away without the draft sort of affecting things here too.
Yeah, well, like we were talking about at the top of the show, it's a technical track, which makes it a driver's track, right? And if you can really maximize speed in the slower technical stuff and thus carry a little bit more speed down the straights, a little bit more speed into the fast stuff, you can really make a difference here behind the wheel. And that's impressive, and doing a really nice job. Yeah, watching those two go. And, Rice-Budo, if he doesn't have that moment, then I think we're going to see some stuff. It's going to be fun to watch, I think, Wan Shi Lin and Elliot Burton come from that last row. Because we know Wan Shi's quick here, clearly. And Elliott, we have seen great speed from. He just had a problem early. While we have a second, I just got an update from Jose de las Casas, who, of course, is one of the 3 owners of FARA. And he said their race schedule for next year just came out today. And as usual, they'll be based around Homestead Speedway. January 23rd to the 25th is the first race at Homestead. Then there's one in early March. Then Sebring in late May. July, they go to Road Atlanta, and that's going to be spectacular. Early October, back to Homestead. Then they go in November, they go to the Pi Motor Club, which everybody's raved about. I'm not that familiar with it, but the number of people have said they're delighted to have that on the schedule. And then, as always, the season finale back at Homestead in the Race of Champions. So check out at farausa.com that 2026 schedule. They've still got lots of racing going on to wrap up the season this year, but great that they've got that schedule out this early.
Yeah, really nice to have that all good, and that allows everyone to plan their travel as well. So that's all great. Let's hear from Full Send Sims before we go back green for race number 2.
Simulation will never replace real-world racing, and I don't want it to.
Full Send Sims provides custom-built, top-notch simulators from whatever your budget is. We want to find the best fit for you.
We build rigs for pro drivers where we go and measure their cars, every measurement one-to-one down to the millimeter. You can drive these sims and certify basically to race a car in the real world. Matter of fact, this weekend we have 2 guys that work with FSS that have strictly been sim racing for the last 5 years.
Absolutely did not think a year ago I'd be driving a race car this weekend. However, getting into the simulator, I think it really helped me get on the track and stay competitive.
I've been a sim racing instructor for about 2 years now. The benefit of working with me as a race coach, I'll get you to be a better driver, a lot faster, with a lot less mistakes than you could doing it on your own.
We take the sim building and the sim training as serious as possible. It's not a video game, it's a training tool.
Full Send Sims will offer fully custom-built rigs and delivered and installed into your own home and constant online service. What we offer is world-class, top-notch racing built by a community of racers who enjoy passionate, clean racing.
And there we are, once again, at Sonoma Raceway, carved right into the side of one of the Sonoma mountain hillsides, and it is an amazing venue, and great to be here. We are looking forward to the second of the doubleheader races, if we can get that pack of 3 or 4 or 5 cars back into the mix here. Kyle, I just wanted to let people know that, there was a big announcement by Full Send Sims that Camden Hibbett has joined Full Send Sims on a fairly substantial level. He is going to be one of the instructors. He is going to be doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes, and he's really adept at rules. So I was talking with Court, and Court said Camden has joined us, and he's going to be an integral part of the future of this. And that...
So did you just see what I just saw?
I did.
What?
There's another one.
What is happening?
My God, I just watched a documentary on Travis Pastrana, and that looks like something he would do.
They found a jump, man. This is something that happens at a lot of racetracks now, that because iRacing allows you to drive more places than you used to be able to drive, and the fun part's trying to figure out where's all the jumps.
And well, they found a couple.
Yeah, man.
No, jeez.
You were saying?
Yes, very Pastrana-esque, including the crash part.
Oof.
But this place, I was fortunate enough to be able to start coming here back in the early 90s, and it just was a very, very special place for me. When my first Trans Am race as the Series PA guy was right here, and it's always been special, and just to see, that it's still a staple here. It really is kind of a bit of a resurgence, I mean, with all the effort that they've been putting in lately. It's great, and this new track service looks really, really awesome.
Well, cars are on the racetrack and ready to grid here for our second race of the night. Again, another 20 minutes. We're going to see more of the same. I have this feeling that we are. We've typically had one race that looks a little different from the other, but something tells me that the way this is a driver's racetrack, it's got a lot of grip. It kind of keeps the carnage to a minimum when you got less than 35 cars. You don't have these long drafting straightaways. I think it's going to be another Hibbett v. Belleman battle, but I think Neal and Forster might be able to stay involved this time.
They certainly have the pace, and I think if Hayden right there in that gray 65, he had a great drive up into that position, and I think he's got the pace to be able to run with these guys, and he's a strong starter, so we'll see what he's going to be able to do there. And then remember, Rice Pudo, he's outside of the top 10, I think starting 13th. But if he can get a good couple of opening laps in, he could be right up in that mix as well, because he had really impressive speed until he had that little moment, ran wide. So I think it's going to be really fascinating here these first 3-4 laps to see who does something big early, and if somebody has some sort of an issue late, early, that drops them back and makes it a challenge for them. And there's Wan Chi right at the back, and as you pointed out, no Elliott Burton. So I think he had a bigger problem.
So cars and drivers make their way around. I'll have a look at the weather here before our second race. It's about the same, 75 degrees Fahrenheit, 90-degree track temp. Breeze is picking up just a little bit, but kind of all the same as what we expected. Starting lineup on the left-hand side of the screen. What row, I mean, you're going to be driver's left here if you're at Camden Hibbett, but what row would you prefer, Greg, at Sonoma? Because the iRacing service puts you on the left, but I think there's a strong case to be made to be on driver's right.
I do too, and you know, we saw that where you can get position, you can make that work if you're on driver's right, but you've got to be enough ahead as you sweep up through turn one to be able to park the guy who's on, as you said, driver's left on pole. And look at Hibbett. I think he's ready to go. He's up there racing with the pace car. But you know, that's one of the great things is you know, again, if you've got that level of commitment and bravado to go around the outside up, you know, through one, you can definitely make that work. But you need to be clear enough to be able to park the pole sitter. And we'll see what these two guys learned from each other in that first race. Because we saw that play out just a little bit. And what that allows somebody to do is be able to pick your pocket from that second row. So let's see what plays out here.
Getting some temperature in. I see a little dust on the racetrack as well as they track through turn 10. And I'm not really surprised to see that. Again, you can see a little bit of the brown off the line there. And sometimes in iRacing, you actually set up the track state to be different from session to session. And even if it's carried over, it's not just marbles that the drivers will displace. It's also dust, dirt, and debris. So offline, you see it's all kind of muddy and dusty. That will reduce your grip. And that might have been part of the issue for a handful of drivers like Nicholas Rice-Budo, who found their way off track, Greg, with not a lot of grip. But here we go, race 2.
You're absolutely spot on. Indeed, here we go. Under control of Camden Hibbett as he brings them up to the line, and we are green. Looked like an early move there in the back. Not sure who that was right there. Looked like they may have moved a little bit early, but up the hill we go. Belleman actually had the nose ahead here as they sweep up the hill. Manis kind of getting normally a great starter. He's getting swarmed at this stage. And let's see what happens. Now he's going to try and pop to the outside and salvage a little bit. Oh, just a touch. And Belleman again showing lots of respect. Hibbett as well, giving him room at the top. And now here we go. Drop down into the chute. And what's going to unfold? And look at Beans up into third. You called it.
Yeah, Beans Forrester in position now. Carson Neal's right there, but here comes Snedden up the inside. He went to the apex and contact for the lead.
Oh boy, and that was not what Camden wanted, and it kind of surprised me. It looked like he just turned right in on him.
Oh!
And that was really close.
Everyone's wiggling. James Newell, yep.
Yeah.
Well, this is going to get interesting now with Hibbett stuck in 6th. He's got to go. You don't have those long straightaways like Road America to draft back up. You've got, and he's offline again, and he's going to push out into the runoff. I told you it's dusty out there. Spin, Friedhofer, and he's in the wall hard in the tires over there.
And I think, I'm trying to. Who was that second car that was involved? But yeah, you're right with Hibbett. I wonder if in that contact, if he got was that Friedhofer all by himself?
He got tagged by the 43 from Himmelsbach, and then Wayne Buttermore kind of got into it at the very end.
Yeah, that's a shame. But I'd like to see that incident again with Belleman and Camden, because it looked like everything's fine here. Belleman certainly has the inside position here. He turns in. He didn't really go wide. Camden just turned in and just ticked him, didn't he?
Yeah, let's watch from Forster. This will give us a better perspective. He tracks out really wide. You could argue that maybe Belleman didn't turn in.
Yeah, a little late on the turn in, exactly. But, that's part of the problem, because at that point, Belleman's eyes, he's made his commitment to that late turn in. His eyes are up the track. And Camden's trying to go around the outside. But that's all part of the game, and that's that track awareness. It's a 0-3 race, and he hasn't been able to make up much ground yet, and that's not good news for him, is it?
No, here's Wenzel Kemma. Dropped a couple spots at the start of this race, and he's got one right in the crosshairs, headed down to 11. Rice-Budo feels the pressure. He's going to try to split the gap between the wall and Rice-Budo. That was dicey there.
Yeah, that was a commitment move there for William, but again, just had a nice run, and sometimes you'll do what you need to try and not give up that speed. So now, if I'm William, and we know Rice Pudo, he's a former champion, he's front qualifier in that first race, is, unless he thinks something's wrong with Rice Pudo's car, follow him. And, learn where is Nicholas, like right there. Nicholas, a little bit later turn in, ended up getting a car length or two on the exit and driving away. And it certainly seems like William Avenselskama, he, certainly has some chops. And a great opportunity to go to school with one of the champions in this series.
Certainly, and this is a dangerous position for everybody other than Thomas Belleman. Beans is actually keeping pace with him here, but if you give Belleman clear racetrack, just like Morgan Burkhardt, he will just drive away. So Camden Hibbett knows that. There he is, 6th in line. You see him cutting distance on those curbs on the right. He's just trying to carry as much speed as he can. Last time by, though, he was a 10th slower than Thomas Belleman. And on the left-hand side of the screen, we'll show you the last lap. Belleman at a 125.0, Hibbett at a 125.1. And so Belleman was still the quickest car, with the exception of Carson Neal, who was actually about 200ths quicker.
Yeah, we look at this. Hidden Man is trying to make some moves early here. So, working at it and trying to hang right in there. And he's worked his way up into 5th, but now he's got a problem behind him, and his name's Hibbett. Yeah,
and Camden's going to be on a recovery charge here. This is when Camden gets stone cold. Look at his face right now. He's just locked in and focused. And that's the most dangerous kind of Camden. When he's up there battling with Morgan or Thomas, he's smiling and throwing big moves, and he's comfortable up there, but he's not comfortable having to charge through the field in such a short race.
Well, and keep in mind, for him, he's had a really rough start to the season, and is back in the points just a little bit. As I said, I know we're still early. I mean, we're completing the first third only of the season. But for Hibbett, he's rarely outside of the points like that, and there he goes, just slices through. Now watch for Hayden is, he's not exactly a wallflower and try and counterpunch, but Camden had that covered. But for Camden now, with Burkhardt being gone in particular, he knows, I've got to make some points here.
Down through the S's, all the while, no challenge up at the lead for the time being. This is one of the closest battles on the racetrack between Manis and Hibbett. Carson Neal was the quickest car the last time around, but this time it was still Belleman at a 125.022, and he was 0.3 better than anyone else on the racetrack.
Rice Pudo now finds himself up into 8th, so he's making moves, not as quick as he'd like, but he's making some moves here. Right behind Trace Hance, and then Newell, and then Vance will come. But look at this now. Belleman, as you were talking about, has drifted away here to the tune of about 1.25 seconds.
Wayne Buttermore and Kerry Anderson. This is actually the car that was involved in the collision with Friedhofer. I misidentified it as Buttermore, but it's actually the 78. And see the front end damage on that car. And I guess the good news is that we don't have a ton of straight line here, so you can sort of drive around most of the damage.
Yeah, exactly. It's amazing how that little bit of damage on the fast draft tracks can affect you so much. Here, that's not going to be an issue, and just, get after it here and try and go get him at this point. Trace, did he get a nice run? Oh, that wasn't, I'm sorry.
Kerry.
The wrong color car right on top of Kerry, yeah. Yep. And he still got a nice run here. Look at that. Buttermore going to try that big arc, and, he actually rolled a lot of exit speed there and was able to pop right up next to Kerry again.
Yeah, great little scrap. Right, this is for 19th place.
I know.
Again, it's always like, putting the puppies in the living room and you got to put the gate up, because anytime you take your eyes off the leaders, they do crazy things. But with Belleman leading by 1.5 seconds, we can kind of poke around and see what other battles are going on. Here's Spolman and Fuller pass for 16th.
Yeah, nice move by Spolman right there. And always nice. He's been one of our regulars right from the get-go, and putting in a really solid run here in that 0.42. Ian Fuller having some fun out there.
Buttermore and Anderson back at it again. This time on the touch. They're in each other's door.
Close.
That's a bad spot to get there. You see that rumble strip on the entrance to turn 1 on the right. You don't typically run into that, but when you do, it's bad.
Yeah, that was really fascinating there. You could see that Buttermore he ran a little wide at the exit of one, and so he had to sort of straight line to the apex, and he ran, as a result, ran wide on the exit of two. Just there was no place at that point for Anderson to be able to do anything. But that's some of that, that wow. Whoever was behind them just caught
Snedden.
monster air in there. Ooh, Snedden out in the grass.
Coming to a stop. Not sure what's going on here.
What a shame.
There it goes.
Fluid
Engine. That was on an upshift too.
Yeah.
I wonder if we ride on board, if we can hear if it was an accidental downshift.
I think you were right.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, because he wouldn't have been downshifting there. He'd have been upshifting, setting up for 10. That's a shame. I mean, a top 5 run. And we've seen some real impressive speed from him here as Hibbett finds himself now up into 3rd, having wandered his way around Carson Neal. And now it's just put your head down and go after that white machine up in front with those two charmingly and stunningly good-looking dudes on the rear deck.
No idea what you're talking about, Greg.
Yeah, me either, clearly.
All right, Beans Forster now 2 seconds back. Hibbett is getting closer to matching Belleman's pace. Belleman has dropped off a couple tenths of a second, but he's still lapping in the 125.3 range. Everyone else in the 25.5 or above. But there's still half the race left. Can't give it up yet. But things are looking futile if you get back to about 5 minutes to go with this much distance. That's a lot of speed you got to find.
Absolutely. But how about Nicholas Rice-Puto now is up into 6th and is about less than a second from 5th and Hayden Manis. So Rice-Puto was doing a brilliant job of stemming the flow here a little bit in this one.
Great point. There he is. Yeah. Halfway.
He's closing on Manis and bringing Hans with him, as you said, halfway.
Another good lap for Belleman. That was half a second quicker than Forster, but Camden matched it that time. So I think for Camden, what he's got to do is just dispatch Forster as quickly as possible, but that's a lot easier said than done.
Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, if he could do it, and look at that heart rate. That's, he understands the urgency here.
Oh, he missed the curb there on the right a little bit.
Yeah, sure did. Now, here we go into the chute.
Gosh, that wall. I always enjoyed the chute configuration of Sonoma just because of that little daring thing. It reminds me so much of like a V8 supercar course when you got those big curbs to bounce over and those walls to just miss.
It does, doesn't it?
It's got kind of a street course, like an Australian street course vibe, and I really enjoyed this track just to lap, even just by myself for that corner alone. But unfortunately, you have to give up the carousel to run that turn.
Yeah, and it's not just the carousel, it's that, because you go into turn 5, right? And it dips, then it climbs, then drops into the carousel. And turn 5 is a tricky corner in its own right. And it really is crucial for the setup of the carousel. So it's sort of a double whammy there. And, that was Buttermore working through on a reef, I think.
Yep, and then Sawyer Richards.
125 coming with him here, yeah.
That's really scary, and now they're going to go side by side into turn 10. This has ended in tears already once tonight, but they did it this time.
Yeah, they made that work all right.
And how about this, Ian Anderson and Nate Himmelsbach? This is for 12th.
This is a solid battle, isn't it? They're about 3 seconds adrift to Dylan Lee, so this is just for this battle right here. But again, just having so much fun.
Oh, huge clobber of the curb there on the inside. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Another reason why I always liked that corner.
Wan Chi Lin has fought his way up from dead last into 14th. Yeah, let's watch this again.
Yeah, this is big commitment. What's the angle to watch here? Probably this one.
Look at that, both of them. Yeah, and then Wan Chi coming up here. See him right there in the background, and that chrome, sort of bluish chrome machine. Again, look at where he started, 23rd, and up into 14th. And these guys continuing this. Boy, did 147 Anderson get a run through turn 10, but again, just carried too much speed into 11.
A lot harder to do the over-under.
to close up a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, at the exit of 11, it's really tricky to do that over-under. You think it's possible, but every time you do it, it's just the corner's a little bit too long for that to work quite right. But you give it a try anyway. Or usually what I'm doing is I'm masking that I blew turn 11, pretending that I was treating it like a double apex. Yeah.
Exactly. All right, here we go up into 3A. Quick direction change there. Using up all that curb or more on the exit. Oh, that time Anderson really launched on that curb, didn't he?
Well, this chase
just continues to close. And I just wanted to point out to everybody here as we follow these guys here. Hibbett has caught Beans right there in the background. That's where the Indy cars would have gone straight and then into that really tight chicane that they just drove past the exit of.
Yeah, in the sports car layout, I actually don't mind. I know turn 10's a lot of fun at speed, but I do think that chicane is fun to drive. I'm not sure I'd trade it for turn 10. It's like they got all these great corners. Just need to make a layout that uses all of them.
Absolutely. I
don't want to trade one for the other.
And you get to still drive turn 10 with the chicane, but you just don't get that high-speed entry.
Right, exactly.
Which is what really made it so joyful. And I'll tell you, Hibbett down to the inside. He and Beans side by side up the hill. This is crucial. Beans has position. Does Hibbett have enough speed to exit? No, he doesn't. Beans has enough room to drift over, and this could give Carson Neal an opportunity to get in and mix it up with these guys again. Boy, Beans a little wide there. He and Hibbett are so close on the exit, and talk about a nice bit of driving. Great respect from the both of them, and Beans finally has to give way. But I think Beans made a little mistake there, and it was enough to let Hibbett slice through.
And Carson Neal gave a bump draft to Beans coming down to turn 4, but didn't quite work out. It's not a long enough straight for that really to do much, but and he's actually going to be under fire here from Rice Puto after that holdup.
Yeah, he is. And I'll tell you what, that was really, really respectful of Carson, because as you said, he gave him that little bit of a bump draft. He could have easily just given him a little tap again, loosened Beans up, and he didn't. And obviously, as you said, it brought him right into the reach of Rice Puto here. But I just really respect that kind of driving. And here you can see Hibbett going, well, I know Beans will try something. Rice Puto, whoa, he went for it. Then Carson tried to cover, and Rice Puto said, well, I'm committed. I am going to the apex. And somehow on the exit, they didn't touch. That was close.
You lost that spot here and running out of time. Going to be about 3 laps to go. I think this time through 4 minutes left on the clock. And this battle is really tight here. Carson Neal is pretty similar on pace to Rice Puto. But Nicholas is on a charge forward to recover some points after the first race.
Sure is. And Bellerman right now up the road by 6 seconds. It tells you, as you pointed out, Hibbett just was not able to get around Beans fast enough. And I don't know that Hibbett had the outright pace to catch Bellerman. Because, again, he was kind of matched when he had the fast laps. He was kind of matching his pace. Protects a little bit on Beans here. And what he's trying to do right now, he knows Bellerman's gone. He wants to hang on to second. And I think he might be overslowing, pulling a Morgan Burkhardt to try and get Rice Puto close enough and, to start taking Beans' attention away from the rear deck of his own car.
So Bellerman leads 6.5 seconds. And look at this. Forster up the inside at 10. And here comes Rice Puto. He's going to take him 3 wide, I think, down here into turn 12. No, he thought better of it. But this is a great battle, all for second place. Fighting for scraps.
Beans float, and if Beans floats out a little wide, Rice Puto gets to drive like that. So that it was enough, and Hibbett's going to come over and make sure that there's no lane for Rice Puto here. Now Nicholas is going to try and go way out and just open the angle up the hill. Watch for Carson Neal and Hayden Manis behind. Oh, was that a touch?
Yes.
I think it was. And that's Beans way wide, but he just chucks it up into 2.
Camden's smiling now.
Rice Puto still right there, but look at Hayden Manis side by side with Carson Neal in their battle for 5th.
3 wide.
Are they going 3? Oh, Trace Hanson's come into it too. And it's Newell in the back. This is just coming off the rails. This is awesome. Look at this.
Cars everywhere. Which one do you follow? Your guess is as good as mine. Newell up the inside of Hans. That's a tight squeeze there behind Neal. And look at William Wenzel Kemma has joined the fray. Michael Brock in 10th.
And Hayden Manis did a really nice job there. Got out of the way of some of that craziness and was able to steal a march on Carson Neal. Manis now up into 5th. So that was really fortuitous for him. It's going to be fascinating to see here now what Rice Puto is going to do. Is Belleman coming around? He should pick up the white, I would think, this time. Or is it going to be 2 to go?
It's going to be really close. I think it'll be a white.
Yeah.
Little contact there from Beans on Camden, side by side with Rice Puto, and there's the white flag.
1 to go. There's the margin. That next car in line's a lap car. And here we go. And Rice Puto now has got position on Beans as we head across the line and up into 1. And Beans is going to, the only option he has is to run that outside line straight to the apex in 2. And Rice Puto got there just too quick and shut the door. And so Rice Puto, what a charge, 13th to 3rd in this one. And like I said, talk about stemming the flow here.
Yeah, just trying to do his best, especially since he's the highest running driver in the points innings that's here tonight. Really, he just needs to beat Beans to kind of make this worth it. But whenever your fiercest competition is out, you'd best win as much as you can. And look at this, Neal up the inside of Hans, or Manis rather, and Hans watching from behind.
Oh boy, I'll tell you, Hayden, if he'd have taken his normal line, he'd have gotten right into Carson Neal. And he really tightened up his exit. Still had enough roll speed to be able to get in front of Carson. But boy, that was close.
Yeah, Beans Forster had a big internet discontinuity, but he is back. And right in the middle of all this, P3, he's got Rasputo to his outside. There's battles that are coming all the way to the stripe. Look at Neal out in the dirt, but Belleman, Greg, is going to come through again.
Boy, what a drive, what an event he has put together on this one. Welcome to the checkered flag, Mr. Belleman. Here's that battle at the end. Friedhofer is right in the middle of these guys coming to the line. And barring anything crazy, Hibbett should be 2nd, and Forster 3rd, and then Rice Puto, and then touch at the line, and technically it went to Manis. How about that?
By 14 thousandths of a second.
That is about as close as it gets.
That's Sonoma, that's for sure.
Yeah. And interesting, because Rice Puto had that 3rd spot. We were following all of that other craziness, and wow, I missed where Rice Puto got passed again by Beans. Oh, yes. All right. So close. And Nicholas, yeah, it was a great move by Beans, wasn't it? Just gave, Nicholas didn't telegraph it and then gave nowhere to go.
Someone went flying in the background there again. But anyway, checkered flag out. Let's have a look at the race results here. Thomas Belleman gets it done. Then Camden Hibbett, Beans Forster picks up a podium. Rice Puto 12th to 4th in that race. Nice recovery, but I think he would have liked a bit better than that. It certainly would have liked better night to keep Beans from making up ground on him in the championship.
Yeah, I would agree. And then, of course, Trace Hansen, Carson Neal faded there in the couple of laps. But, you know, Michael Brock, we didn't really talk about him. He came from way back to crack the top 10, so a nice job. And William Wenzel Kemma, great to have him in this championship, top 10.
Yeah, nicely done there. Then Dylan Lee, Wan Shi Lin. Nice drive up from the tail of the field for him. Himmelsbach, and Anderson, and Seth Spolman, your top 15.
Then Michael Fuller in the 16th spot, Sawyer Richards. It's nice to see that after a rough first race for him. Wayne Buttermore in 18th, Kerry Anderson. What a battle 8 we're having for a while. And then you can see Jim Friedhofer there at the end with the leaders coming through, winds up in 20th.
And Todd Burris, Arif Aziz, and Jake Snedden will wrap up your field. And Nicholas Rice-Puto's hanging out, so why don't we chat with him. Nicholas Rice-Puto finishing 4th in race 2, but 12th in race 1. Nicholas, what happened in that first race?
I run triple monitors, and all of a sudden it wanted to be one monitor. So I had 3, like a mirror of 3 screens on one, and it was undrivable. I had to pull over and fix it. I'm not sure. Ever since this update, I've been having issues. I'm just trying to get that fixed. Like, even on the last lap, I don't know if it was an internet issue for Beans or whatnot, but he disappeared from my view. That's why I went off. I had no idea where he was. So, I'm gonna update my stuff and see if I can get that fixed. But yeah, sucks for the points for race 1 because I was definitely up there.
You really were competitive, and it was a great scrap. And you hate to have that happen. Something that's really out of your control just a little bit. But you seem to have the pace this season, and that was a great recovery drive in this one to try and gather a fair number of points. But I think Beans had an internet cutout that just threw you off.
Yeah, it's all good. It's part of it. We'll come back next week stronger.
Yes, you will. We know that.
Didn't completely throw it away yet, so we got some work to do.
You got work to do, but we also have speed, and so it's going to be fun to watch here, Nicholas.
I appreciate it.
Thanks,
Sure.
Zach. All right, let's chat with Beans Forster, who came home in third place in race number 2. Beans, good to see you. A little bit of drama in the first race, a little contact, but now in race number 2, just a great scrap there at the end, really from second back to 10th, and you persevered for a podium.
Yeah, that was awesome. I'm super sorry to watch you in that first race. I was trying to just get it through the corner. I started to understeer a little bit, but then we must have just touched wheels in the absolute perfect spot, and the way it launched his car up was just a little weird. And we were kind of talking about it a little bit ago. It's almost like he had anti-gravity on that wheel when we made contact in there. But I'm super sorry to him for that. I didn't want to get through there like that. It was a tough fight, that first opening lap, but it was a good race. I just couldn't catch up to Thomas and Camden in that first one. I like driving Sonoma. I'm just not the best at it. And then in the second one, once I knew Thomas was gone and I saw Camden get up to me, then it was just game on. It was defense of the century. And he got through. And then I didn't think I was going to get Nick back through after he got on the inside there going up into turn 1. And so that was a pleasant surprise. But it was an overall fun race, a great time. Snow was such a fun track to race on for the short course.
It's a great technical track, and I love that. And obviously with the chute, it kind of opens it up a little bit. But nonetheless, we were talking about it early. If you can get through the slower technical stuff well and carry that little bit of extra speed there, you can really make a difference here. And a couple of podiums. I mean, obviously, that a pretty good evening.
Yeah, I mean, I would have some good laps catching up to Thomas, but then once we just got into that final hairpin, he would just pull away from there like it was nobody's business. He'd gap me like a 1 to 3 tenths just from that corner alone. So it's no matter what ground I made up through the entire lap, he was always going to gap me there.
Were you able to see what his magic was there?
No, and that's funny because I asked him about it, and he said everybody says the same thing to him. He doesn't know. He told me to treat it more like a double apex, but I tried that and it didn't work.
Well, you gave it a great run nonetheless, man. Absolutely fantastic, and certainly appreciate you helping me get my Discord issues resolved here. Maybe that was distracting you a little bit.
IT stuff's easy for me. But
yeah, I know, and I loved your comment about, don't worry, Greg, it's just your age. Thanks,
I didn't say that. Don't tell Corey I said that.
No, you didn't say that. You typed it, but nonetheless.
Fair.
Yeah, but hey, great stuff.
Yeah, good talking to you guys.
Thanks, Beans.
All right.
Thanks, Kyle. Thanks, Greg.
Let's chat with Camden Hibbett, who was up front battling most of the night, and Camden got a little bit of a shuffle back in race number 2, but ended up still second after kind of driving your way up there towards the tail end. So first and a second, not a bad points night. Take us through it.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with how I ran the first race. No real complaints there. Think I put everything together pretty well. Definitely better than my previous weeks. Race 2, it happened in race 1 in the hairpin. Kind of hop tires in these cars, which is becoming worse and worse with each update, it seems, which is strange, but it happened in race 1, was able to catch it, ended up cracking my wheelbase cover, but that's part of the racing, I guess. But I caught it race 1. Race 2, I saved it with some damage. I was back to P9, I think. So it sucks. It is what it is. I will take driving back through the field to P2. As soon as I got behind Beans. He started parking it, and I was like, well, the race for the win's out, like, right? Like, Thomas is gone. So any chance I had of catching him was pretty much gone as soon as I got to Beans. So then it turned into a race for second. I was just trying to back Beans up into the pack to try and get them racing so I could get a little bit of a gap, right? You can break in these cars at tracks like this, but it's hard to do it without help. Like you need to get 7-8 tenths to really be able to do it yourself. So that was my goal. It ended up working on the final lap, which wish it would have worked a few laps before that so I could have some comfort. But yeah, all in all, much better driven race, I think, from me tonight. Still some stuff that not thrilled with, but overall big improvement from previous weeks for sure.
Well, we were speculating if maybe that's what you were doing, was just trying to back Beans up into Nicholas and get the focus off of you just a little bit. The other thing I was going to ask is, when you had that contact in turn 7, you were trying, you'd done that inside run before the first race, and you were going around the outside, and it just looked awkward, not just for you, but for what happened with Bellarmine. What was your perspective on that? Did you not see him and turn in on him, or did he float wide?
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I haven't watched it back yet. I don't know if I don't think Kyle has a replay of it, but I don't personally. I didn't think there was, like, I knew he was there. I didn't think. I think it was personally a racing deal, to be honest with you. It's just unfortunate that that's how it ended up. Kyle's pulling off the replay here. It's unfortunate that that's how it resulted, right?
Right.
But all in all, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think it was more or less just a racing deal, right? I
That's kind of what we
there,
thought,
but I was
yeah.
trying not to leave him an insane amount of room. I think I just turned in a little bit early. You can kind of see it there. Yeah, that's just a racing deal, and it was such light contact too, right? Like, if the tires were tucked in 3 inches more inside the fender, like, there's no consequence, right? It's just a door scrape,
Exactly.
right? So, it's just unfortunate that that's how it turned out. Racing deal, we move on, live and learn. I almost accidentally killed people. I didn't realize we were 3 wide when I came back on, so I apologize to whoever that is in the middle. I had no idea we were 3 wide. I thought they were strung out single file. But yeah, all in all, much better race from me tonight. I think Thomas is obviously, like, he's been stupid fast in GRE sports here. Like, he knows this place, so I knew he was going to be tough to beat. So 1 for 2, I'll take it.
Absolutely. And I mean, the drive you put in that first race, I mean, he was heaping huge pressure on you, and you really drove it well. And when you squared up turn 7 in that first race and popped up underneath them, that was really savvy. And you can see the shorter distance paid off, and then you got the position. But it was so much fun to watch you drive from, I think it was 8th up into second here, and watch your attack and your racecraft. Always a treat, man. Well done, first and second.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I think,
and welcome to the world of Full Send Sims as
I know
an instructor and a bon vivant, from what I hear.
Yeah. So huge thank you to Court and the team for bringing me on as social media, content creation, instructor, remote support, a little bit of everything, right? So I will start doing some of the Racecraft Academies on Thursday nights, every other Thursday. I believe this week is Racecraft Academy, I think.
It is.
So yeah, make sure to tune in if you want some extra practice for next week's race, or just to learn from instructors like me, Morgan Burkhardt, Beans, Trace Hance. Some of the best instructors in the business from the FSS team are putting on these schools. So it's a great opportunity to learn, and huge thank you to Court, the team, for having me on. It's been a long work in progress to try and get this sorted out, just because of my age and how busy the racing industry is, right? But now that we're here, it's gonna be a fun experience. So looking forward to it.
So it's great to have you as part of the team for sure. And yes, you're right. Tomorrow night, anybody who hasn't raced the Mid-Ohio Sports Car course with the chicane heading down into the Keyhole, Racecraft Academy tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. Opportunity to do
Thursday
that.
night.
Thursday night, excuse me, at 7 o'clock, which means that will be our next race that we will be having next Tuesday night. Will be Mid-Ohio with the chicane leading into the keyhole. So that's going to be a lot of fun as well. Another great technical track, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Home track for me, so I'm looking forward to it. Finally got a podium this year, so this is my first podium/win of the season. So good turnaround night for me. I know, right? Good turnaround night for me. So we'll move on to home track and look for more of it.
Great stuff, man.
Thanks,
Thank
Camden.
you guys.
And our race winner tonight in race number 2 is Thomas Belleman. And second in race 1, first in race 2, the reverse of what Camden Hibbett did. And Thomas, it was a really strong night for you. You just drove away from everybody in race 2. And, it wasn't quite the sweep that you had in the GR Cup Esports night, but still 2 podiums and a victory to leave the evening.
Yeah, no, really happy with that second race. I thought I had it in the first one, but Camden came back at me. We had a good fight till the last few laps. But yeah, second race was like, a statement race for me. I was like, I'm gonna pull away. I'm gonna show these guys who's the boss at Sonoma, being one of my home tracks. So kind of got it done there. Was honestly felt like I was in the flow state lap after lap, just like really honing it down, and luckily got the win on the second one. But yeah, would have loved to have 2 double wins, but a podium and a win was pretty good tonight.
So it's one of your home tracks, and then you only win by 8 seconds? Come on.
I know.
Thomas, that was really impressive, man. That was great stuff. And it was interesting. Beans, in his interview, was talking about your mastery of turn 11 and how you get from the exit out there. You just, he said you seem like you're just like doing a shuttle launch for one of these types of cars. Just track knowledge, you think? Just the little nuances?
Yeah, it all honestly came down to the sim. Like the first time I raced there back in the Spec Miata days, like it just got with me, and everybody was always like trying to do like a late apex of that corner. It seemed to be kind of like the thing everyone did, but I saw it as like a double apex thing. So I'd like shoot the apex, then like V had come back out, and it seemed to work. Like we had compared data back in the day, and people were always like, "How am I 10.5 faster through there?" And I was like, "Because everyone's they're late apexing it, and it seems to be just like taking too much time turning in the car, and they're like using too much track, whereas I'm just like keeping it tight." And I guess it seemed to work really well tonight on the sim. And yeah, the track knowledge, and also back in the day with the experience, and that kind of helped with that tonight.
Yeah, it sounds like you kind of drive it like a slightly tighter version of turn 2 at Laguna, and just diamond it just a little bit. But boy, did it pay off. And you heaped huge pressure on Camden in that first race. That was a fun one. You just, no matter what, that dice early when he kind of shortcut turn 7, and I mean just turned way down underneath you, and then you're coming back after him. I mean, it was just absolutely a joy to watch that race, and then just to see it check out, man. Well earned, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, we had a good scrap there. I always love fighting with Camden and everything we've done this year as well with the esports, the GR Cup, and a bit of the racing prodigy as well. We had some good side-by-side moments, so I always trust racing close to him because I know he'll give me the same respect. And fortunately, I do apologize for that race one. We got that little bit of like wheel hooking kind of happened, like you doing like go-karts, so that was unfortunate. Would have loved to have like a battle there, but yeah, no, it's really fun fighting with him. Really enjoy always keeping it tooth or nail, swapping back and forth, and try to get it done in race 1, but unfortunately, you got me there.
Tell you what, yeah, winning a second and a dominant win at that. So well played, and it's a treat to have you in this championship. Love watching you drive, bud.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. Yeah, I really enjoy being here. It's good to kind of go back to the roots of where it started and doing it in the sim, and trying to find some time away from college whenever I can to do this. So really happy to be here and racing with all these guys.
Well, it's a treat to have you here. We thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Thomas. All right, Greg, that'll wrap things up here from the West Coast and Sonoma, California. And again, this track, it's a driver's racetrack. We love watching racing here, and the drivers like driving here. But that is this round complete, and that leaves the next round to one that's a little closer to home for me, Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, a week from today.
Yeah, it's a short jaunt from Chicago right now, isn't it? So, yeah, that one's going to be great. I mean, Mid-Ohio, like this, in terms of being very technical. This has the big elevation change. Obviously, Mid-Ohio, the elevation change isn't as as big, but it's certainly as abrupt, and that's what's going to make it a lot of fun. So thanks everybody for joining us here tonight. We thank all of our sponsors as always, and we really appreciate you all tuning in. A big thanks to Finian DeCuna again for the camera setup. As always, big thanks to Kyle, and looking forward to having you join us from Mid-Ohio next Tuesday.